a debate with an authoritarian.
Yeah, I mean, so much inflammatory, xenophobic, racist rhetoric. I have to say it surprised me that there were no calls for Trump to step aside based on that, and it makes me wonder, are we normalizing extreme views and extreme methods of achieving them?
Absolutely. You know, Trump is one of the most successful propagandists in history, and that might seem absurd to some people. And he managed to convince tens of millions of people working in a full democracy. And Hitler and Mussolini didn't have a full democracy. They already had a closed state that they controlled. Trump did not, and he still managed to convince tens of millions of people that he won the election and convince them of all of his lies. And one of the principles of propaganda is that if you tell a lie enough, it becomes familiar, and eventually it can be taken as reality.
In the hours and days after the debate, pundits in the media really jumped on the narrative of questioning whether Biden should stay in the race. But very little attention seemed to be paid to Trump and the many lies he told, and whether his performance should mean he's unfit for office.
Come on now.
You know, in the conclusion of my book Strongmen, which I wrote in 2020, I warned against falling for the glamorous strongman. And it's a very insidious process, internalizing his ideas of what leadership should be. And media came to this debate already informed by this.
NPR Radio, citation. This is an excerpt from NPR Radio talking about Trump, 91.7 FM.
Biden's age and not about Trump's age. So that, again, this is where I go back to the whole frame has to shift in order to have accurate coverage when you have an authoritarian involved and a performer like Trump.
Should journalists be doing something different? How should we proceed to cover this new reality?
It's difficult because the management of many big media outlets seems to be working with a paradigm that is dated. What we have today is we are a bipartisan republic, and one of the two parties has exited democracy. If the GOP were a sovereign entity, its foreign policy, for example, would be an autocratic policy, aligned with autocrats. It's enthralled to a cult leader. So the frame has to be different, and yet many media executives have wanted to go further to the center or even the center-right, thinking that will solve the problem. And so they're just internalizing the views of those who actually go after the press. We know that Trump is going after the press. He has gone after the press. So the way that the media companies and executives have approached this is very short-sighted.
You know, Liz Cheney has said the country is sleepwalking into a dictatorship. Those are her words. And I'm just wondering if, you know, the Democrats, when they talk about this, which they are, it's about attacks on democracy. And maybe that doesn't ring as true to people as kind of the fear-mongering about the border or reminding people they're hurting from prices at the grocery store. Is there a better way for Democrats to talk about this creeping authoritarianism and the attacks on democracy that make it more real for people?
One thing we know is that voters tend to not respond to abstract concepts. They respond to specific threats to the conditions of their everyday lives. And so that's one reason the fight to preserve and now restore abortion rights has been successful with Republican women. It's been successful with people across the political spectrum because it's a very specific thing that has consequences for individuals, for their daughters, for their sisters, and so people can get behind it. Defending democracy can seem very abstract.
And I wonder what individuals can do, because maybe people feel powerless. There's a good number of people who see Trump for what he is. If they want to steer back in the direction of democracy, away from autocracy, it kind of feels overwhelming. What can people, individuals, do?
Well, one thing we can do, because we have a huge problem, all these people who believe lies. So one thing we can do is take the information we're getting about what they say they're going to do, and we have abundant information, and talk to people. Try to talk to MAGA people of your acquaintance. It's difficult, but it's the only way to break down these barriers that have been created by hate messaging and disinformation.
Ruth Ben-Ghiat is a history professor at New York University and author of Strong Men, Mussolini to the Present. Thank you so much, Ruth.
It's a pleasure.
Citation.
All the news here.
NPR 91.7. Wow. Was not expecting that. That was a excellent interview that they just held, talking about how the Republican Party has basically left away from democracy. Come on now. She just broke it all down, people. Hey, Fivefold bringing you first-rate news. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all act like you don't want to find it out for yourself. So I gotta make sure you're educated. And you know, before you make the mistake of your life, the mistake of history, trying to tell you, if the Republicans get back in office this time around, you can cancel Christmas and every other holiday you esteem so well, because they're doing to turn everyone into the new slave. Okay? You better bet it. They're going to do things to keep you dependent upon the government, and you're not going to be able to create your own wealth. You're not. They're going to have us so heavily taxed and so heavily vexed from the different shortages that there are. Meanwhile, big business is going to be going strong, boy. Going strong. Yeah, because that's what they want all along. No, Democratic Party, as sad as it is to say, that's the only way that they present it to us for people to benefit in anything. If you don't keep the Democrats in office, big business gets all the benefit. Show me in history where I'm wrong. Huh? Everybody talks all this junk, but Google, what did the Republican Party, or what has the Republican Party ever done for the working American, and you will see zero. So when you can come with some hard facts about what the Republican Party has done for the working American, then you come talk to me. Until then, you need to sit quiet in the corner, because you don't have nothing to say. Nothing worth listening to, that is. Facts are the facts. They speak for themselves. Democratic Party has always benefited the working American. Always. Always. And I don't even like them. But it is what it is. What, you want me to lie? It is what it is. So, hey, think what you want to think, but don't think stink. And thinking voting Republican is going to benefit you in any way, shape, form, or fashion if you're not bringing in a certain amount of money a year, because you are not in their club, buddy. Point blank, period. So why are you supporting them? Ask yourself that. Why are you fronting, supporting them, and behind your back they're laughing at you, calling you stupid? They are, because you are. It's crazy. But people are people. You have your choice to be stupid if you want. You have every right to be dumb if you want. It's your prerogative. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make sense. Not beneficial to you nor your family, but If you want, you can do it. So I'm gonna leave it on that note. Blessings, peace, and prosperity to all the believers who feel like they're not getting their fair share. And it ain't about being greedy. Well, it is about being greedy. Big business is being greedy. And they need to stop being greedy and feed the needy, which is the working Americans. I think we all need a 25% pay bump off the rip. And then every year, 10%. You know what I'm saying? Y'all still making millions? Still making billions? Then why am I at the same level? Huh? Come on. You got to be crazy if you don't agree with that. I'm telling them to give us our fair share. We're the ones that keep this country going. And yet, we keep falling off.